Aloha and welcome to Aloha Friday, where greatness is made casual. I'm Shane Austin, professional athlete, mental performance coach, and I'm here with my co-host, Dave Austin, former professional athlete, way too old to be playing professional sports nowadays. Also mental performance coach and extreme focus founder. Grab a Mai Tai, hang out with us today. We're going to be talking about goals versus intentions and what the difference is. And are goals really helping you or are they hurting you? We're going to dive into that today. So before we do, I got to turn it over to my co-host because he is living the Aloha spirit right now. I see you. You see that background. Where are you right now?
Aloha, man. Hey, we're going to do Aloha Friday. I had to do it right. I'm on Kauai, island of Kauai in Hawaii. And man, I'm telling you what, I can never get too much of Hawaii, never too much. So this is really, I hope you feel the Aloha spirit better than ever today. It's fantastic. And, we always start with gratitude, right? And I'm going to say I'm very, very grateful to be here. Very grateful, man. I love the islands. I love just the whole feeling and spirit I get every time I come here. So, man, this is really Aloha Friday made right.
I love it. Well, as you can see, I'm not in my Aloha shirt. I am out here actually, and this is part of my gratitude, since we always start in gratitude, is I'm out here at Tin and Hunt Club. It's about 45 minutes south of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it's where my father-in-law, he's built this hunt club here, and we have a big sporting clay event tomorrow for the Boy Scouts of America. Yes, Boy Scouts of America. I don't even know what I'm working for. So we've been hard at work digging holes and getting the sporting clay course ready. I was just telling Dave here before we went live that as I'm trying to write down some of my notes, my hand is shaking and I can't even grip the pen because my forearms, my wrists, like my grip strength, I'm just noodles right now. I'm jello. So I'm going to see how I can push through the rest of this day, but it's going to be a great event. Definitely, if you're in the New Mexico area, look into any of our other sporting clay events. But this morning was beautiful. My gratitude is I got up early before the sun came up, and my wife and I, we went out to the elk fields. Right now it's mating season, and it's called the rut. And the elk are bugling. We went out and we took we shot them with cameras. We were videotaping them. And I actually forgot my camera batteries, which I can't believe I forgot my camera batteries. We have this huge herd around us, these giant elk with the giant racks. And I forget my camera batteries. But I did have my drone. So I did drone footage.
Oh, wow. I can't
some
wait
elk today.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It was like National Geographic out there today. So anyways, with that said, no trivia today, but I do want to get into the quote of the week, or as we all know it as the Queek. And the Queek, the hashtag Queek for this week is by Napoleon Hill, author of, what is it?
Think and Grow Rich, my friend.
Oh my God. He's author of a lot of things, but Think and Grow Rich has changed a lot of people's lives. Napoleon Hill says the starting point of all achievement is desire. And in our coaching program, actually in our certification program, we're talking about one of our principles is Valdapa, which I won't get into it totally, but value creates the desire, which creates the power to achieve. And desire is one of the strongest motivators in this world. So desire, you got to value something. When you put a high value on it, you lift it up, you value, you appreciate it, you desire it fully. Now, there's a difference between want and desire, and I think that's what Napoleon Hill is talking about right here. So I'll turn it over to Coach Dave for the tip of the day.
All right, so the tip of the day for me is I'm here at the Kuala Landing. And you know what? Kuala Landing, if you've never been here in the resort, it's on Poipu Beach in Kauai. Come here. It is remarkable. And I had a chance to do a training here with all their staff. And so my tip is that I had this feeling that I could bring value here. Now, the director here wasn't really sure, but the owner he had heard me speak, and he said, I think we should have you come out and speak at the Kuala Landing. I think it would be really great. So there was a little bit of conflict there between the guy running it and the owner. but I stayed true to knowing that there could be value. And so the tip is always stay true to yourself. I came and I gave my best. And now one of my biggest fans is the director of this resort. He's like, man, you've opened up my eyes to a whole new experience that I didn't even know was possible. I thought I knew. See, there's the tip right there. You think you know, but you got to experience things fully before you make a judgment. That's my tip. Allow yourself not to judge something and stop something till you've experienced. If you've experienced and it doesn't work out, at least you've given it your experience. That's your tip of the day.
No box, no boundaries, right? Don't limit ourselves with our own judgment. We tend to get in our own way, sabotage our own creativity and true greatness because of that judgment. So I love that tip. And I see some people are coming in. What's going on, Tank? You gotta let me know who Steve is, though. But Craig Collins is saying aloha and actually loves your lefty. I'm not an aloha tire today, but Dave, you look like you're actually hitting is the hurricane hitting you right now with your lay on?
A little bit of trade winds going on here. Well, we were very blessed too, because there was supposed to be a hurricane hit here. And we want to take a moment and really think about those back on the East Coast. My good buddy Al Patterson, who lived here on Kauai, now lives, out on right where it's hitting. Earlier today, he went outside in the eye of the storm. He said it's like a little eerie, but he sent his wife to higher ground. He stayed there to kind of, I guess, his heroics of saving the house. So I'm thinking, Why do you stay? But he's out and during the eye of the storm, he's out cutting down things that might, affect the drainage and all that. So I guess he had a purpose, and he's probably in that, the eye's gone past now. So he's probably in that heavy part of it again now. So I want to pray for those there, but we were supposed to have a hurricane hit here at the same time. Amazing. It got, your mom, Shane, did it again. She has a special connection, It's like, well, I don't know if I can take on a hurricane, but the hurricane went to shifted into a tropical storm that then got shifted. She kept pushing it to the south, and it went to the southeast. So we've gotten a little bit of it. So the trade winds are a little bit heavier than normal, but man, who cares? Trade winds are awesome here.
Here in Hawaii, you're living the aloha. I'm sure plenty of people wish that they were there. So with that, let's just dive right into the topic of the day, goals versus intentions. This is a big topic for us in particular because we have both worked with a lot of athletes. And in athletes, and really in anything, you'll see how this all translates to life, to business, to anything. Sports is a great metaphor for any lesson. But with athletes specifically, you have a season typically, and that gives you a good measuring stick for hitting goals. And for me, as a growing up young youth football player, you guys would set these crazy, we would call them incentives, and you would give me a reward if I would hit them. But you guys would set them so high, there's no way I'd ever be able to hit them.
Well, we didn't have to actually buy that stuff, so we made them so you couldn't do it. But dang it, you always did.
Well, the funny thing is that is how our minds are wired. Our minds are goal-seeking mechanisms. And when you set a goal, even if it is a very high out there goal, our mind goes into work mode. How can I accomplish this? How can I do it? How it opens the possibility. Not saying that for sure you're always going to hit it just by setting a goal, but at least now we are focused on the target and we're at least shooting in the right direction. I always talk about an archer, right? If you don't have a target anywhere, you might shoot that arrow anywhere. But if you at least have a target, a clear set, now at least you're aiming in the right direction and you have a chance of hitting that bullseye. So that is why I am a true believer in goals, but we do want to discuss the pros and cons. Now, I grew up in sports, in football, setting goals for every season and really having a lot of success with that. But we've also gotten, since we've been working with a lot of athletes, we've been diving into intentions. What is your intentions for this game? Maybe you have these season goals, you have team goals, you have individual goals, whatever that is. But what are your intentions for this game? Dave, do you want to kind of explain what are intentions and how that works in relationship to
the best way I can explain it is really give you an example, and I won't even use an athletic one. I'll use one that right here took place this week. I had a goal of being asked back here in February, because I like coming here, to continue what I did this week here. And I had this goal that I'd bring the whole family here with me in February. So that was my goal, is that I would show enough value that they would go, oh my gosh, are you available to come back? And so, but how do I hit that goal? I had set 3 intentions. One is to give them processes or give them practices that they can be inspired, not just motivated. I knew I could motivate them, but the difference is, we talked about this on this show. Motivation doesn't always last. Inspiration, because it comes within, goes on and keeps driving forward. But you have to have practices, or what we all call winning habits. So my first intention was to really create clear winning habits for them so they could be inspired to keep doing the best version of themselves. 2 was to be very clear. I had a very precise time and not kind of get so bogged down with giving too much. Be very, very clear. So that's another intention. It's who I had to be. And 3, have fun doing it, because people respond when you're having fun. People respond differently. So those were my intentions to meet my goal. And it was unbelievable. Now at the resort, everywhere I go, I have some of the staff come up and tell me amazing stories of how it's already affecting them. I just got to tell one that I love. One of the maintenance men, he was down in the bushes, and I'm walking by, and this guy comes out of the bushes and stops me and goes, oh, hey, I got to tell you something. And he quoted a lot of the things I said. I go, wow, that's pretty impressive. But he says, I always work so hard. I get home and my wife wants to talk to me. I go, no, not now. I can't. I'm too busy. I'm too tired. I'm not going to talk to you. So that kind of goes on and on. He goes, but tonight when I went home, my wife says, hey, are we going to talk? And he goes, took a deep breath, because, we always talk about that deep breath. He goes, I got energized. We talked. It was a great night. Thank you. So, here's to make him better here at the work, but look what he's done and applied it now at home. To me, that excites me.
Well, and that's because you stayed true to your intentions. And if you're just tuning in right now, we're talking about the difference between goals and intentions. And Dave had, he had a clear, solid goal, but he also used intentions. And what we mean by that is those process goals. Process intentions are things that you want to do to enable you to achieve those goals. Now, they're not results oriented. Goals are results oriented. Intentions are more of who you want to be, what your focus points are, and they're things that you can always control. Goals sometimes are not always in our control, especially if you're playing in a team sport. You might have that goal to win. You might play lights out, best game ever, but your team ends up losing. Now, are you a failure because you didn't hit that goal? No, you still were able to stay true to your intentions of whatever your intentions may be. Maybe it's being grounded. Maybe it's trusting. Maybe it's relaxing and embracing the nerves. Maybe it's being courageous. Maybe it's having laser focus. Whatever those intentions are, they help you be the best version of yourself consistently to be able to hit those goals. That way, you're not concerned with the actual results. You're more focused on the process to achieving those results. So in life, in business, in sports, we all might set very, audacious goals, and these goals can be very large. And I am a true believer in those goals when you have the right system. But then it comes down to those intentions. You got to have those intentions day to day. If you're going into a meeting, if you're going into a big networking event, if you're going into a game, anything, even if for students going into a big test, finals week, you take clear intentions, not worried about the results, just focusing in on the process, then you're setting yourself up for success. So really, I think we're both in agreement here. We love both. I mean, you got to use both, and that's ultimately the best formula for success.
Well, I'll tell you what. Years ago, as you know, I became number 1 in senior tennis, but I was very clear. It was a very precise goal. I was number 3 the year before, and I said I can get to number 1. So I was very precision as far as my goal. But The only reason I accomplished it is because I was very clear on my intentions. I had to really be, one of my intentions was stay in the moment. Because what happened if I didn't stay in the moment to moment to moment, I'd get ahead. Oh, I might be winning. And then I lose my power of this moment. Or I made a mistake. I'd be looking backwards. The other area of intentions that I think we've got to tell everyone that we do in our coaching program is keep it simple. 3. We might have 20 intentions, right? But then it's not as clear. And you can come up with 3 really clear intentions, and anything else is absolutely a distraction. Just focusing on that. You're going to have more success than you've ever seen. I've literally been watching television and seen one of the players that I work with in Major League Baseball. I loved it. I see all of a sudden he's playing right field, and then kind of a close-up, and he takes a sheet of paper out of his hand, into his hand, and he looks at it and then puts it in the back of his pocket. No one else knew what he was looking at. I knew exactly what he was looking at. He was looking at his 3 intentions, because sometimes once you get in the game, we tend to forget because there's a lot of distractions. And that was just his way of going, okay, this is where I want to be. This is who I am today in this moment. Put it back in the pocket. So it was that reviewing, so that when those distractions hit, you're not tempted to slide away from your intentions, which will then ultimately take you away from your goal.
Absolutely. Well, I want to give the viewers, anybody, whether you're watching live or on the replay, something actionable that you can take home to be able to set more effective goals, to be able to set effective intentions. Because again, it's not this or that, it's this and that. And when you bring them together, it's a recipe for success. So a lot of people do say, goals, nowadays it's kind of popular, like, oh, goals don't work. And they start to get into overwhelm when they set goals, and they've got 45 goals and it's just not going to happen. And really they're to-dos, but they're not actually goals. They're just your tasks. But goals, when you have the right system in place, you're more in line with actually hitting them when you use those intentions on the day-to-day. I like to reverse engineer. I like to set my big goals. Maybe it's my year goal, whatever that is. We call it the big kahuna goal. You're in Hawaii, right? The big kahuna. The big kahuna goal is what I'd start with. Where do I want to see? If it's in 2 to 3 years, if it's at the end of this year, at the end of this quarter, at the end of this season, what is the big one? If I could accomplish one thing, and it might be something that you have no idea how you're going to accomplish it, but you know that maybe it's possible. You just don't know how yet. I just said it. I like to put it out there. Let the mind, just the universe take over at that point. And then you start to work backwards. Okay, what do I got to do? What are my medium-sized goals that are going to help be a platform to catapult me to that point? Once you have that set, we call those kind of stretch goals. Those are the ones you really got to push for. You got to stretch yourself, but if you focus and you hit it, you're going to be on track. And then you can go back to your smaller goals, maybe your day-to-day or your weekly goals, whatever that is. Those are also stepping stones to get you to those medium goals that gets you to that ultimate big kahuna goal. So that's the way I like to do it. I like to reverse engineer, so that way I know what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis is in line with my long-term vision and goals. And one thing that's important is being very specific with those goals. The more specific you are with the goal, the more specific you are with results. A lot of people send out broad goals and they get, so-so results. And they're like, well, I had a goal to lose weight this year and I only lost like 2 pounds. Well, is that a goal or is that a wish? I mean, a goal is specific. I want to lose 15 pounds by this date, and these are the steps I'm going to do it. So it's very specific, but the driving force, the motor, the engine behind it is your why. What is the purpose? If you just set out a goal and you got nothing fueling it, well, when you hit a setback, it's easy to just like, whatever, I tried. But when you have a strong why and you have a lot of value in that why, a strong purpose behind it, because it's going to help me touch more lives. It's going to help me create more of an impact in this world. It's going to help me feel confident in my own skin. Whatever that why is, that is going to help you get over those setbacks and those hurdles when you do get to them. But also, a lot of people miss the timeline, setting a deadline on those. So now that's another area that overwhelms people. It's like, well, I don't want to put that pressure on myself because what if I come up short? Well, what if you were to hit it? What kind of impact could you make with yourself, with your community, with anybody? But putting that deadline, putting a timeline on it creates that fire. It creates that good pressure. We call it eustress. It comes from the stem of euphoria. Stress is good in dosages. Now it's distress that actually, it's the way we handle stress that actually is the killer in this world. That's one that creates disease and all that stuff. But when there's a little bit of good pressure and you're pushed a little bit outside of your comfort zone, well, that's good. That's growth, and you want to embrace that. So that's one of the keys to setting goals too, is you got to set that clear timeline. Then the strategy shows up. You know, a lot of people go to the how right away. You don't have to know the how right away. You just got to get this formula set up, and then the how will show up. So in recap, I reverse engineer from my big one. You describe it perfectly, clearly, in detail. You have a clear why. You have a purpose behind it. You have a timeline. Set that deadline, whatever that is. If it's a season, if it's a year, if it's 3 years, whatever that is. And then the strategy shows up. So that's a little, hopefully some actionable takeaways for clear goal setting. Is there anything you want to add to that, or even talk about how to set better intentions?
Well, I just want to say amen, brother. I mean, amen. You're preaching it. You're preaching it. I saw the choir behind you singing hallelujahs. You brought it, baby. You brought it.
That was the elk.
I love it. I love it. That was awesome, man. No, I think you nailed it. And I think that, our intention in these shows is to bring tremendous value to you. And we set that clearly. We do our best. Our goal, actually, I don't know if you and I have talked about it that much, but it's so that you change your life for the better. We're game changers. That's our whole life. We love changing lives for the better. And so that's why we give a lot of free content too. Yeah, there's stuff that we have that goes on and you do pay for, but we love just making an impact in everything that we do. So our intention is to give you clear value every time we do these shows.
Absolutely. And if you are feeling the value, you feel like this is something that is awesome, we would absolutely love if you were to share it, if you were to comment, engage with us, because the more audience, the more people we can impact, the greater. So that's really our mission. Our goal is to impact as many lives as possible. And by leveraging, the technology, the internet, we can go live. This is amazing. So anyways, I have some goals that I got to go finish up out there, because we have a goal of finishing all of this work by tomorrow's sporting clay shoot. So that would be the goal. My intention would be staying poised, staying present, embracing the moment. All of those are just examples of something that's different from a goal. The goal is to finish all that work. The intention is how I'm going to finish it. My presence, the way I show up, the way I do it, the blisters that I'm about to continue to get. So with that said, you want to lead us out with a little review of the week?
Yeah, my review of the week is going to come from right here on Aloha Landing, from the managing director, who I mentioned earlier. After I gave my first talk, and I've done a couple here, and I'm going to do one more before I leave, he goes, wow, I didn't know that so much impact could happen that quickly. And he showed me his notes. He had 3 pages of notes from that hour talk. So I'm going to just leave it there with the testimony of the week coming directly verbally to me. And I like that. I feel like I really hit my intentions, which ultimately hit my goal when he said, I didn't know that so much could be given in that short amount of time. I was very precise. I was very clear, which were my intentions. So there you have it.
Awesome. Great review. And I usually close with some recommendations, and we already gave a book recommendation, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. A podcast.
Can I give one more? Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead. Well, I love Think and Grow Rich. There's no doubt about it. It's a great book. But there's another book he wrote that didn't come out for 50 years after he passed because his wife was a little bit uncomfortable with it. And then Sharon Lecter, who's a friend, was able to bring it out with her. She added some things to it, but Outwitting the Devil. It's a phenomenal book by Napoleon Hill. And Sharon I'm so grateful to Sharon for bringing that back out a few years ago. It's impacted my life. Awesome. I just have to throw that out. So I'm giving you 2 from Napoleon Hill.
Outwitting the Devil.
Outwitting the Devil.
By Napoleon Hill. And then a podcast definitely everybody should listen to, because I'm the guest of it, is Adam Markel's podcast, The Conscious Pivot. If you look that up, Adam Markel, his podcast, I was fortunate enough to be a guest on his show just recently. It just got released earlier this week, I believe. So I just listened to it. It's a quick listen, but it's a great topic. He's a great host, great person. So give that a listen. Next time you're listening to podcasts, look for The Conscious Pivot. Other than that, that's our show. So thank you guys all. Mahalo for tuning in, joining us, engaging with us. We always love it. We love to hear from you guys. And again, if there's any topic, anything that you guys want to hear about that we should dive into, let us know. We would be happy to dive into another great show content submitted by our viewers. So with that, aloha, and thank you again. We are signing out. Shane Austin, Dave Austin, actually in Hawaii right now. And just join us next week, any other week that we have Aloha Friday, where greatness is made casual. Until next time, everybody, aloha.
Mahalo.